Morning, folks. Today's soap is brought to us by Gold Shave. This one here is called Junto. I don't think this one here is available on the website anymore. Might be able to find it on a buy-sell trade, but this particular soap started out being about 5 ounces in weight, and that's what it looks like there on the inside. It's a fairly firm soap, but easy to scoop out, put in a lathering bowl. Also be following up with the matching aftershave here. As it goes for scent notes, it's sweet bourbon, Spanish cedar, oud, let's see here, amber and musk. That's what it looks like there in the fine accoutrements lathering bowl there. And the brush is a POTUS. There's a coin there. Got this one here a while back. It's wet, moist, if you will. It's not quite drippy. This is a very pleasant scent. As it goes for, I don't know too much about what's seasonal and not seasonal. For me, I use whatever I happen to like at the time. So that's just how I work. But anyway, this is a very nice scent. It's also a tallow-based soap, I should mention that. Shaver of the day is this one here. I picked up this injector. It is what is referred to or typed, if you will. And I've got links down below for this sort of thing. So if you're looking for the link, more about, I guess you might say, the group, Junto, that's also known as Leather Apron Club and Ben Franklin and all that sort of thing. I've got a link down below that kind of narrows down all the information to give you some idea of where the background, I guess you might say, the patriotic theme behind everything, as well as Schick Injectors, as goes for the individual that went through and combines, found the history and kind of give you some idea of as it goes for the type of injectors, was just so to help organize the all the information, I guess you might say. It was never official. In other words, this one here being what is referred to as a type E, which is manufactured right around the time frame 1935, 1945. And this one here, the E type, is considered to be a bit more aggressive than the G type, even though the two will look very similar, but there are some differences. And it goes through and discusses that sort of thing. This one here, I picked up quite some time ago. Wanting to say about $10 on the cheap. It's got some corrosion here and there, but it doesn't affect the shave at all. And you can kind of see there's the flaps right there. And it has the lines going across the safety bar, which are, how can you say, are consistently drawn. An earlier version of the E will have these lines going, how can you say, every which direction, random. It looks more like scratches as opposed to lines that are parallel like this one here, running horizontal and nicely spaced and whatnot. Just little changes here and there. Some of the E-types, eventually these flaps will be removed. There's a lot of those sort of things that'll be discussed in that link to help you figure out what you may have. And the blade in there is a Personna blade. I've already put a hot towel to the face this morning, and I'll go ahead and get started with the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. This is the Holliday Preshave cube here, and go ahead and get this going here. But this scent is really nice. Also, I think it was just yesterday. Yes, it was yesterday. Day being September the 1st. Depending on what group you travel in, there will probably be a lot of videos, postings of single edge shavers. SE September. Kind of get the idea there. And kind of starts out the month being September the 1st. Today is Wednesday and hump day. And at any rate, you might find a lot of these sort of shaves floating out there. But being yesterday, Frank also released another soap, Camp David, a pre-order. And I'll have a link down below to Frank's website there, Strike Gold Shave, if you're interested in checking out the soap. Sometimes, marketing has a lot to do with sometimes catching somebody's eye and buying something. And I would have to say in this particular case, it just might catch your eye. Camp David is the one that up for pre-order, and I do like the sticker, the labeling. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like, for instance, that coin right there. I really like that. That was, I guess you might say, the deciding factor. I had been, at the time when I was looking at these handles, I've been looking at them for quite some time. And when I noticed that that coin was going to be at the bottom of it, that was the deciding factor. I was going to go ahead and pick it up. And these kind of handles can be found, I think, on West Coast Shaving from time to time. This scent is really nice. It's pleasant. I can't imagine this not being used year round, but I'm not that kind of guy. I don't follow that sort of thing. So somebody else, I guess you might say, that's much more proficient with scents would know what's appropriate, if it's a year-round scent or not. If for me, it is. But this particular shaver is considered to be a little bit more aggressive than the G type. Like I said, they do look very similar. And like I say, that website will help you discern in between whether you'll be looking at an aggressive razor or one that's a little bit gentler to the face, because there is there is a blade feel with this one here. Yeah, there, no doubt. There's a blade feel to it. And aggressive, efficient, depending what kind of terminology you want to use. But the fact is that there is a blade feel with this one here. I say these things, the prices, they're all over the map, just depending on the condition and so on and so forth. And sometimes I think it has a lot to do with availability. In general, when it comes to the E and G's, I do have one. I don't have it here with me at the time. I do have one that's slightly different that has me kind of puzzled over time. Right here at this particular point, most of what you're going to see are going to be shaped just like this one. I have one where this part right here is round, and I find that kind of interesting that for some reason it was decided at some point to do a round one. Don't know why. I guess maybe it was just a test. In other words, it'd be just one particular series of that kind that was done that way, just to see, I guess maybe in manufacturing. I don't know. It is kind of interesting sometimes how they make changes over the years. What's the reasoning in behind it. But there'll be little things like that you might pick up if you're following along the quote-unquote the E and G series of Schick injectors. Definitely a rabbit hole you can fall off into, because there's different versions of, I think G, there's up to 8 different versions, I think it is. I think 5 on the different versions of the E, the different colorations of the handles and so on and so forth. Some of them you might run across. For instance, this one here, in other words, how it's gold. Some of them may be only in silver. Some of them may only have a particular color handle. And there's some of these that will be textured. In other words, not smooth, bright, shiny, but just a silver color, but it would be textured, not smooth, in other words. Just various different kinds of shavers and colors that you can fall off into in that rabbit hole. For me, I enjoy the injectors, whether it's a Schick or, just supply, as it goes for modern ones. I really do enjoy that one. The Parker adjustable that's came out with version 2 here recently. I have a lot of fun shaving with those. They're interesting shavers, in my opinion. Design always interests me. And this one here doesn't weigh a whole lot. It's pretty small, as you can tell. But in other words, you can find some with shorter handles, short handles, long handles. Just, I guess you might say, just to help for those that enjoy, different size handles. As well as different shapes. One of the things I do like about the idea is how this is tapered right here. Over the years, you will see a number of handles that are designed that way. For me, that's where I put my little fingers, right there. Helps with the control for me. Some handles you'll notice, I guess you might say, that kind of design. Placement of the fingers to help with control of the handle and the razor. Later on, I'll do a video with a focus razor. It's Dynamic Evo. First one was just dynamic, and it's got a pivoting head, but the handle is designed in such a way, the placement of your fingers to help with control, and might be the key to, I guess you might say, get used to using it, because it is a different animal. Single edge uses half a DE blade, but it does have a pivoting head. Alright, pass number 3, against the grain. Now, if you find yourself getting weepers and whatnot, not everybody can do against the grain pass, and your against the grain may not be this direction. It could be totally different direction depending on where you're at. But especially on a neck is a tender spot, if you will. Against the grain pass on the neck may not be one of your things that you can do. So you may have to change your routine up just a tad bit. But for me, in most cases, I do okay. I've learned over time that I have to pay attention with the gym styled razors against the grain. I have to be very careful about the pressure. Certain places on my neck and just right underneath my chin, it is easy to end up with a weeper if I'm not careful with the pressure. I guess you might say not to get carried away. Oh, one of the things, it's if you're a buffer, I find that buffing with an injector to me just seems to be easier. From time to time, I give that a try. It doesn't always. It comes up from time to time where I feel the need to buff, but it doesn't happen very often with me. But I know for some folks that is what they do. It's not something I use as a practice on an everyday basis. Just every once in a while, it just seems natural to do such a thing. Not sure just why just yet. I haven't quite put my finger on it. Reason why I do that. Face is really smooth. This soap at the end of the shave, in other words, your face feels moisturized. It doesn't feel dried out or anything quite like that. It's a pretty nice soap base. All right, we'll get started with the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements alum block complete with rubber band. Over time, I have changed things just a little bit. In the beginning, when I first started using the alum block, I had the rubber band in the center, and then decided maybe best to put it on the very end, so that way as I use the alum block, I get the most use of the rubber band and the alum block at the same time. Thought maybe that might be a better idea. I do use it lengthwise. For me, I know a lot of people rinse the alum block off. I don't necessarily do that. It seems to work well for me when I use it in combination of the alum block and the witch hazel. Matter of fact, here it is, the unscented but mentholated witch hazel from Stirling. It seems to work best for me that way. And I know other folks, follow the instructions, rinse it off and all that sort of thing. For me, leaving it on and just adding the witch hazel afterwards seems to work well. I noticed that some witch hazels, if you take a moment to look at the ingredients, include alum within their witch hazel, or it might even be in the Aftershave. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. All right. Going to have a nice cooling effect. It is still warm around here. Still having heat advisory. Seems like, it just runs every day of the week, it seems like. In other words, heat index well over 100, 105, 109, that general area. It's like, wow. Cooler weather, can't hardly wait. Something a little bit nicer, I guess you might say. Aftershave. This one here comes in a brown container, glass bottle, and that is what the restrictor looks like. Relatively small, helps keep the aftershave in there with this kind of lid. Don't know if the camera will show it, but it, in other words, it goes through the top of the restrictor, helps seal it up, keep it in there. So it comes out just a little bit at a time. So, in other words, it's not a gusher. I know sometimes scent profile doesn't always, I guess you might say, give you an idea what it smells like. And for my nose, I can't pick out one thing or another. All I know is it just smells good. On the dry down, of course you get different scent notes as it's drying down, but it really is to me a pleasant scent. I enjoy it. This is glad I got this one. Fantastic shave today. Like I say, through the month of September, you'll see a number of single edge shavers. In other words, in between injectors and gem shavers and DE blades snapped in half and all kinds of different ones. But at any rate, you'll see a variety of things. Hope everybody's doing well today on Wednesday. Stay safe, healthy, and smooth shaves to you.